Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in for another video. Today we talk about this package that just came in. I'm really excited about it. So I think I got the scissors right here, and it's from AMD Auto Metal Direct. Has all these warnings and everything, so it was packaged pretty nice. I'm really impressed that it came out on a pallet and solid, so I have nothing to worry about. If seal is broken, check contents for before accepting. Well, I didn't really do that, so I'm hoping that everything's fine. You know, I really like the fact that they took their time and they actually wrapped this thing carefully. I give AMD lots of credit on this. Well, I can see a little defect, but it's no big deal. That's from the way it was manufactured. Let's go ahead and set this in front so let's give you a better look at this. I'm covering it up, but don't worry about it. It was packaged right, so this is the way it was made. But everything will be taken care of. And I can't wait to install it. Now I'm going to start the process on cutting this old one out and installing this new one. So before we can even get to that point, we're going to have to cut this old one and get everything prepped so we can start welding up this one. Alright, so that should be pretty good. I think this panel should come right off. I did have to trim a little bit more on the bottom of the quarter panel and towards the tail panel, but there was just a few spots that was really hard to get to, but I think that's it. This should come right off now. Oh, there we go. This is what I did several years ago. I installed this, I replaced the floor pan, this outer wheel well, and I think I just nicked it on once, a few corners, but pretty much it's pretty clean. I put this, and I did pull this out because this was completely crushed in. You can see I had to pretty much box it back in, and I put some nice welds here, but you know something? Looks like they broke. No, they did not. Everything's good, because I did have to put a hydraulic jack all the way across from that side to here and press this back out. This side right here where I was welding like a while back, it burned through all that paint, so it is a good thing that we took this off anyways, besides all the damage on the quarter panel. But this needs to be redone, not redone completely, just cleaned up, you know. But now that I've been working on this car for a while now, I kind of know now pretty well how to work on these cars. This quarter panel should have been the last thing I've ever installed. I should have never installed this first, because things moving around, I warped the panel to a real bad point that I knew I couldn't be able to get it back. So it's good to take this off so I can go revisit all this and make sure everything's nice and straight. All right, so it's been a few days now of me grinding, cutting, trying to get everything to look good alignment wise, and this is pretty much where I'm at right now. Pretty much the areas where the quarter panel is going to be sitting is nice and flush, everything's cut. I drilled some holes. I made sure that everything's nice and clean from the top and the bottom, you guys can see, and also right there. Everything's looking really nice now, and I'm just making sure that there's nothing I'm gonna be missing, because this area is going to be pretty much inaccessible once the quarter panel's on. So I had to make sure that the manual windows that I'm installing here, because I'm converting from electric windows to manual windows, so I had to get a new track over here. I can show you. And this part right here, so this one, this was one of the old parts that was left from the wreckage of this Barracuda. Or at least the evidence there was a wreckage. It was pretty smashed, so I tried to train it out, but obviously it didn't look too well. But pretty much I was lucky, and there was a local guy that was actually selling these parts, so this is pretty pristine. And this slides right here, goes in here, and just like this. Pretty much got everything perfectly straight. The window went up and down perfectly, so now we just gotta clean everything up. I put some rust convert on some corners that were a little surface rust. I tried grinding everything down. Once that dries, we're going to put a nice coat of epoxy primer, and then I'm going to be able to finally put this quarter panel on. Now that the car is finally shot with some epoxy primer in the areas I'm not going to be able to get to, I'm also sprayed a little bit of the weld through primer on the areas that I'm actually going to be welding, all these points right here. So everything looks pretty good. I already got the quarter panel sitting right there. Spray the epoxy, not the epoxy primer, but the well-through primer. So what we're gonna do is actually pick up this panel and we're gonna take it to the car and let's see how difficult it's gonna be to actually put it on. It's starting to get there, guys, but not all the way. There's a few areas I'm having issues with. Mostly gonna be right here. So once I get that figured out, because this piece needs to be inside there. All right, so several hours into this and finally got this on. It's almost there. Just a few more adjustments I have to make. Like this was the only issue I really ran into right here. You guys can see it's off by like 1/8 of an inch. And then I'm not sure you guys can see this, but the body line on that turn right there is perfectly aligned. And I really can't move it any more than that, because if I move this forward a little bit just to compensate, then it's gonna throw this one off. You guys can see that's pretty straight. As you can see right here on the roof panel, you know, I had a lot of dents and it looks like I got it pretty round. It's not perfect, but I'm gonna put some guide coats on this so I can see what's the high spots and the low spots. This is gonna be my guide coat, and once this dries, I'm gonna block everything again and see where we have the high spots and low spots. The top is just a few pinholes like this, and just a little bit of surface rust on the inside that's working its way through. That's the reason why we have this pinhole, and there's some other ones over here, but overall really not that bad. It's just a lot of dents and a few things like this. So the overall progress I've been making on this roof panel is pretty good so far. I've managed to get this out, weld the hole that was here. I had a high spot, so I had to shrink it with a torch, cool it down rapidly, hit it with a hammer, and I got that pretty flat. The other side that was really bad compared to this will be right here. You guys can see. Well, this one was the worst one. Overall, you guys can see that this is the best one now. Meaning that all the repairs have been done and it has one of the nicest curves on it already. There's still a few real minor low spots, but it's so minor that a little bit of body filler is gonna fill that up and it's gonna look really nice. For the most part, this side looks pretty good. You guys can see that that's some clean material, but once it gets to this side, there were some pretty big gaps in there already marked where that hole's supposed to be. And this one, but you guys can see that there's really a lot of rust, really bad in rust. So what do you guys think? So far, this is what I've cut out. I've managed to get most of the material, the rust out of there. That's where I want to start putting my patch panel all the way across. There was a lot of surface rust right here, and especially on right here in this spot. It took me a while to grind all that out, but the metal behind there looks pretty good. It's not bad at all. The panel that I made is right here. It's not perfectly contoured to the roof panel, but eventually it's gonna sit in there. So I got this panel fitted and welded up already. The spot welds came out pretty clean. There was a tiny little gap right there, but I filled it up with a bead of weld. But for the most part, and this is what we're looking at now when it comes to the roof panel. So now I'm gonna continue on to the back side of the roof panel where it's pretty bad itself too. Right here, it's gonna be a little difficult because this gap right here underneath this is lead. So I'm gonna try to clean this up a little bit more, put another bead of weld, try to get this radius just a little bit cleaner. But for the most part, this is complete and it's solid now. There's no deflection. I don't think I got too much warp on the panel. You guys can see from the side view. That looks pretty clean and straight. So now I'm just gonna focus on the back side. Cut this out, get the measurement for that hole, get the measurement for this hole, and then just make this little tiny panel. And insert it and start welding it up. And then continue on to here, make this a solid bead of weld. So we get the fiberglass kitty hair and actually start filling this up. All right, so that panel was formed pretty well and I actually installed it already, and this is how it came out. There was a little bit of a low spot here. It's just the way I formed it though. I wasn't really concerned of getting it perfect because all this is gonna be covered by body filler for sure. If not lead, I was really considering doing lead work on this, but I think I'm just gonna go with the fiberglass bodywork like I said. But pretty much this is how it came out. I tried to blend it in as best I could to the one that was on here. So I only made this piece from this point to this point, and that's the way it came out. But if you guys look from the side, I think it blended in pretty well. It has the contour there of the car. Go ahead and make a comment, guys, and tell me what you guys think about my shaping skills. I think it's been improving pretty well. Still a skill I've been developing though. I'm trying to perfect it because I still have this car to complete and then the one over there. But that's it, guys. This is it. That's where I'm at. Car's looking amazing. Very satisfied with the results so far. Gotta keep on working though. Oops, almost tripped right there. All right. So this should be it for this video, guys. This is the progress on the car. It's looking really good. And stay tuned for the next video. Hopefully you guys see more progress, a lot faster than I'm expecting, because I really want this car painted and it has a lot of body work to go. But this is it. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you guys till next time.